Leaders who have lost the capacity for shame. Why do some politicians appear incapable of feeling shame? Hello everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to explore one of the most disturbing psychological mysteries of the human mind, one that also exerts enormous influence over our society today. Imagine this for a moment. Suppose you became involved in a heated argument on the street and unleashed a barrage of profanity that most people would never dare say aloud. Someone recorded the incident, and within hours, the video spread across YouTube and social media, reaching millions of people. How would you feel the next day? Most psychologically healthy people would probably feel overwhelmed with embarrassment. They would want to disappear. Many would avoid school reunions, cancel gatherings with close friends, and even dread going to work, perhaps pulling a mask over most of their face, in the hope that no one would recognize them. This reaction reflects two normal social emotions that help regulate human behavior: shame and guilt. Yet there are people around us, and especially within the world of political power, whose behavior appears almost impossible to understand. Some political leaders continue smiling before television cameras, even after allegations of corruption, abusive rhetoric, deception, or other serious misconduct have become widely publicized. Rather than expressing embarrassment or remorse, they confidently wave to the public. Some even angrily ask, "What exactly did I do wrong?" while accusing their critics of unfair treatment. To ordinary people, this behavior seems deeply puzzling. Are these individuals simply thick-skinned, or are we witnessing something that psychology and psychiatry can explain more profoundly? In today's lecture, we will examine this question from multiple perspectives, including developmental psychology, adolescent psychology, criminal psychology, and political psychology, which studies the minds of powerful leaders. By the end of this lecture, you will better understand the psychological mechanisms that may lie behind behaviors many people find incomprehensible. Let us begin our journey into one of the deepest layers of the human mind. If you find today's lecture valuable, please subscribe, like, and share the video. Your support helps us continue producing in-depth content on psychology, society, and human behavior from the perspective of developmental psychology. Where does the collapse of shame and empathy begin? First, early attachment failure and critical disruptions in brain development. To understand how shame can disappear, we must return to the earliest stage of psychological development: infancy. One of the most influential concepts in developmental psychology is attachment theory. During approximately the first 2 years of life, children need to develop a secure emotional bond with their primary caregiver, typically their mother. When an infant cries and a caregiver responds consistently with warmth, comfort, and emotional availability, the child gradually learns that the world is fundamentally safe and that other people can be trusted. However, researchers have found that many individuals who later display characteristics associated with antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, experienced severe disruptions during this critical developmental period. Some endured chronic neglect. Others experienced physical or emotional abuse. Still others were raised by caregivers whose affection and emotional responses were unpredictable and inconsistent. Under such conditions, the developing brain may mature in atypical ways. From a psychiatric perspective, two brain regions play especially important roles in empathy and emotional regulation: the orbitofrontal cortex, which helps us understand the emotions of others and make moral judgments, and the amygdala, which processes emotional significance and fear. Children who are deprived of consistent emotional warmth during infancy may develop weaker neural connections between these regions. As a result, the biological systems that normally support empathy can become significantly impaired. Instead of viewing the world as a place where people protect one another, they may come to see it as a hostile environment in which survival depends upon domination, manipulation, and control. Second, reduced mirror neuron activity and emotional blindness. The human brain contains an extraordinary system, commonly known as mirror neurons. These neural networks help us instinctively resonate with the emotions and actions of others. When someone cries, we often feel sadness ourselves. When someone smiles, we naturally smile back. This automatic emotional resonance forms one of the foundations of empathy. Children who experience severe emotional deprivation may develop weaker functioning within these systems. Consequently, they may intellectually recognize another person's suffering without emotionally experiencing it. Developmental psychologists often describe this pattern as callous, unemotional traits. Children exhibiting these traits may show little remorse after harming animals, may remain emotionally unaffected when classmates are injured, and often fail to experience guilt, following acts that would deeply disturb most children. At this stage, the foundations of normal moral development begin to erode. From the perspective of adolescent psychology, the loss of peer relationships and opportunities to learn empathy. First, missing the critical window for social development. Let us now move into adolescence, the period during which social identity rapidly develops. One of the central concepts in adolescent psychology is peer relationships. During these years, young people gradually shift away from complete dependence on parents and learn society's unwritten rules through interactions with friends and classmates. Most adolescents experience conflicts. They argue. They misunderstand one another. Some experience rejection or even bullying. Yet these painful experiences also teach valuable lessons. Young people gradually realize that careless insults can deeply wound others. They discover that selfish behavior may lead to social isolation. Through the reactions of their peers, they learn an important social truth. If I behave this way, others will reject me. If I hurt someone, I should feel ashamed. Shame, therefore, is not merely a negative emotion. It functions as a psychological brake that helps individuals live cooperatively within society and restrains behaviors that harm others. Second, the failure of the psychological brake and the consolidation of antisocial traits. Some adolescents never develop this internal psychological brake. Without healthy peer interactions that encourage empathy and accountability, they may follow one of two very different paths. Some become socially isolated, withdrawing into increasingly distorted personal worldviews. Others become dominant within peer groups by using intimidation, aggression, and manipulation to establish themselves as predators, rather than equals. For those in the second group, repeated success through bullying or coercion can strengthen the brain's reward circuitry. Over time, aggression no longer feels shameful. Instead, insults, threats, and violence become effective tools for obtaining power, status, and personal gain. While most adolescents learn, when I do something wrong, I should feel ashamed. These individuals may instead internalize beliefs such as long as I don't get caught, it's acceptable. The winner decides what is right. In adolescent psychology, persistent patterns of serious rule-breaking, aggression, and disregard for others during this developmental stage are diagnosed as conduct disorder. Without meaningful intervention, conduct disorder is one of the strongest developmental risk factors for antisocial personality disorder in adulthood. If you find today's lecture valuable, please subscribe, like, and share the video. Your support helps us continue producing in-depth content on psychology, society, and human behavior.